In a world where superhero video games are a notoriously mixed bag of products, what does one child that would fucking love for a video game to be good think when Crystal Dynamics and Square Enix announce an Avengers game? He builds hype. Of course he builds hype. I was hype as fuck for that video game. Oh my goodness. I love superheroes and I love video games, and all I want is for a video game to come out that just is superhero themed and blows me out of the water. And even with some video games featuring superheroes being so-so, I have honestly had some of my favorite gamer moments in superhero video games. And when Marvel's Avengers first came out, I went into it with an open mind and ignoring all of the overly negative things that people were saying about it to form my own opinion of the video game. I played through the campaign, I tried to get into the end game, and honestly the conclusion that I came to was just, a little bit, meh. And that's why I haven't really made a video about the game up to this point. There's not really much that I could say about it. Even with Kate's release and all that new content coming out, I still felt like there wasn't much for me to add to the conversation or give to the community. But with this recent update and announcements of what they're going to do going forward, I think that's changed. I think it's worth talking about, and there are a couple of different reasons why. With the release of Hawkeye and his future-themed storyline, we get a really interesting look at where this game is going, narratively speaking. Now, the narrative is honestly my favorite part of the campaign originally and what the game was on release, so it's no surprise to me that it's probably my favorite part going forward too. I've been continuously surprised with the narrative that's been released thus far with Kate and Hawkeye. Minor spoilers for both the original campaign and both the Kate and Hawkeye individual campaigns going forward. If you want to skip ahead to a little bit less spoilery part, there's a link in the description and times on screen. We are first introduced to Hawkeye's gameplay when he's an old man in an apocalyptic futuristic setting. And over the course of his campaign, we get a couple of really juicy plot points that really stuck with me, and I want to explain why. At the end of his campaign, it is revealed that Nick Fury and Monica Rappaccini are frozen in time. They've frozen time for most of the world with the exception of the futuristic wasteland area, and simply postponed the impending Kree invasion that's been alluded to in Kate's campaign. I love time travel plots, and this is a unique take on it that makes me very interested to how the Avengers are going to go about changing this. It seems like we're going with an ever-changing, multiple timeline, probably alternate universe timeline type plot here, based on the fact that Old Man Hawkeye is able to alter the decision of young Hawkeye to go into retirement. Also, over the course of the Hawkeye campaign, there's this supreme leader that's alluded to, and he's very mysterious, and oh my goodness, what a good plot reveal. The reveal for the supreme leader could have been way more interesting to me if, the Hulk wasn't in all of the fucking advertising material for the Hawkeye release. Whack. But future Hulk talking about his fallen allies was very interesting, albeit a little short-lived, and I also caught this really small detail, and I'm curious whether you guys noticed this as well. We get some foreshadowing to Maestro, as Hulk now refers to himself, in the original campaign. And Maestro is obviously a character from the comics, so going this direction isn't that surprising. With Banner being trapped in the Hulk after Cap's passing, he keeps the shield as a trinket, which we can see Maestro do in this future plotline, with all of his fallen comrades' gear. And this leads me to believe that the Hulk from the original campaign could have potentially ended up this way sooner if Kamala hadn't found him. And after looking at the screenshot for a moment, I noticed some interesting things. Is that Black Panther's helmet there? I think so. Also, how the fuck did the Hulk get Mjolnir by his feet here? Did he just build his chair around Mjolnir? I don't think he can lift that. That's a little weird. Now, this praise isn't to say that I don't have any issues with the plot at all, because there are some issues. It feels a little lame to just run around the future wasteland and still fight the same enemies that we've been fighting the whole time. Like, fucking aimbots? What do you mean? And like I said earlier, the Hulk plot twist was a little bit weak and pretty fucking obvious. But from what we've been shown so far and what teasers we've got going forward, I have pretty high expectations for where the plot of this game could go, especially when we get into Black Panther territory. Now, the Hawkeye release included the new narrative and, of course, the new Hawkeye gameplay and a couple of other things, but not all that much gameplay-wise. What do you do when you get done leveling Hawkeye and done his story missions? Well, you can now replay the campaign. You can make your own harm rooms as well. Not the big endgame content update that people were hoping for, but not nothing, I'll admit. And that update may still be coming. Crystal Dynamics announced their plans for releasing an expansion entirely free with Black Panther's release. This expansion would come with an increased power level cap, new villains and enemies, narrative stuff, and obviously locations, skins, and Black Panther himself. But with this announcement, CD also released an entire roadmap of what they're making building up to this big release, which should come around the end of the year. No crystal clear date. That's a fucking pun. from the roadmap, it seems to be end of 2021. The first thing on their roadmap is a cute little event known as Tachyon Anomaly. This will allow your strike team to contain multiple of the same hero and erase those previous limits. So you can run around with your squad like it's the end of Iron Man 3, or just have multiple raging green beasts, whatever floats your individual boats. No more limits to what you can play based on what other people are playing. And I think this could help matchmaking in a big way, so that's kind of exciting. I hope they leave this change around. They've said that it's to test the waters and it may become a permanent feature. We'll see. The next event after that is Harm Room themed and Black Widow themed. It's an event called Red Room Takeover, which is of course a nod to how Black Widows are created in the comics and seemingly here as well. Man, that's interesting to me. Why is it Harm Room themed? What are we gonna see from Black Widow's backstory? As I was editing this, the Marvel's Avengers Twitter account added a little more context to what we can expect from this event. The event will introduce Yelena Belova, a very interesting character from the comics and a very prominent Black Widow. The event will also introduce some Marvel Cinematic Universe skins, which is exciting, but of course they will only be purchasable with credits that you have to buy or earn from your battle pass. Both of those events are slotted for spring 2021, so those should come out relatively soon, within the next 3 months or so. Well, what's coming in the second half of the year? Well, first up is an event centered around Monica Rappaccini, aka the Supreme Scientist of AIM, where you fight her with a cosmic cube, which is extremely interesting. We've gotten a couple little nods to a cosmic cube, but it is an absurdly powerful tool, probably on par with the Infinity Stones and the Infinity Gauntlet. In the comics, Dr. Doom assumes that with the cosmic cube, it would allow anyone to conquer the universe, and it even allows Thanos to become one with the universe. And if I had to guess, this would probably wrap up the AIM is the main villain plotline going forward. After defeating Monica, the Avengers will be returning to the future wasteland to patrol things or something? Commit war in zones, perhaps? I don't know, dude. I just think they wanted to ensure the people that they had more planned for this area, but like... okay. But none of what I just said really sounds like it fixes the core issues that this game has, right? What do we do once we've played their new content? Because it doesn't seem to fix the end game.
We're in the end game now.
Well, don't worry, I'm not done here yet. There's this cheeky little section on the roadmap titled Additional Content and Ongoing Improvements, where they allude to releasing new Omega level threat missions and multiplayer mega hives, which sounds to me like endgame content. Post level 50 progression. What do you know? This means that when we hit level 50, we're no longer just done with a hero. Does that mean more skills on the skill tree? It sounds to me like it does. If not that, maybe higher stats? I don't know. I'm interested to see what they do with those increased levels. Outfits inspired by the MCU. Now we're fucking talking. A big complaint that people, and myself included, have had with this game is that their skins, especially at the beginning, were fucking lazy. They were mostly reskins and not very interesting to look at. This is the only way this game makes money. What? This is the only way this game makes money, especially after releasing all of their characters and new content for free. They have to make skins that people want, not just skins. They have been going in the right direction with their latest Iron Man one and a couple other crazy cool ones, especially the Hawkeye ones. Ronin's cool as shit. But this is a huge confirmation that I could get to look like Chris Evans, and really, that's fucking everyone's dream. Tell me it's not. You can't. Just let me be Fat Thor. I'd be pretty happy with that too, honestly. I'll take looking like Chris Hemsworth, but you know, with a beer gut. That's pretty sick. They also throw balance tuning and matchmaking updates in there as like buzzwords just to ensure the player base that they're planning on fixing things that they have problems with. It's good to see, but not very surprising. They also put on here changes to the collectible comics system. And that intrigues me. What could that possibly mean? What do they plan on changing here? New ways to get comics? Maybe adding more comics? Those I think are the most obvious answers, but they could do something crazy. What if we rework the comic system entirely and make it, you know, feel a little more impactful? Give the player something more than just a little tiny stat bonus. Maybe something like unlocking comic book specific outfits. Probably not, but that'd be fucking cool. Tell me it wouldn't. Gear and progression changes interest me a little bit. I don't know what that exactly means. Again, this is to address people's fear of lack of content in the endgame. When you hit your power cap, you're absolutely done with a hero, especially, and players need and want something to achieve when they hit that level cap. Like, what do we do with our characters? And don't think I haven't seen you guys on Reddit proposing ways to make the game more interesting. I've seen it, and I'm interested in what you guys are proposing, and I might make a whole video dedicated to ways that the community has seen to improve the video game, because you guys have pitched some very interesting ideas I think the developers should look at. Let me know in the comments if that's something you'd like to see, and if you agreed or disagreed with anything in my video. And of course, let me know if I missed anything, because there was a lot to cover, and I very well may have. Make sure you hit that like button if you learned anything, or just if you want to, that'd be sick. And you can find me anywhere on the internet at SyncroChamp. That's my name. Don't wear it out. Blah bada bing bada boom. this is an outro. Now I think I would hope so. And if this isn't the outro, I'm gonna look fucking stupid. Hope you guys are feeling good. Hope you guys like the longer video. I actually don't know. Maybe this was a normal length video. Maybe I cut it down pretty good. I have no idea. I assume it's like 15 minutes. If it's not, I'm gonna look real dumb, but I said it here anyway. Anyway, goodbye.